Yes.
Call the meeting to order at 6:01. Everyone would rise and join me in the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Next item on the agenda is the roll call. Let the record show that all board members are present. Item 1B, approval of the agenda as amended. Please note in your agenda we added 2 items. Item F, which is approval of the contract for SB1. And item N, which is the approval of the 2025-2026 school calendar. And that is an action item. I'll need a motion. First by Heather, questions and discussion? Do we have a second? Second by Aubrey. All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Moving along, item 2, informational items. 2A spotlight report retired.
Board members, we don't have these often, but we have a mid-year retirement. Reba Bromworth, one of our bus drivers, is retiring to spend more time with a granddaughter, I believe. Is that right, Reba?
Yes.
And for those of you who may not know, Reba's daughter, Emily, used to work with us here in the ECC as a speech-language pathologist, and her son-in-law, Zach, was a custodian for us. And please let them know that we're still angry at them for both leaving us.
Absolutely. Chris tells me to tell, Zach that all the time.
Yeah, we do get to see Zach on occasion. He still
Yes.
fills in. But
Yes.
please know, you will be very missed, and we would love to have you back at any time. Chris Shaver may be calling you, or Amber at some
He's
point.
already got my arm twisted.
So we just have a small token for you, Reba. Just want to thank you for your service, and that's a nice looking jacket you have. All right, there we go. Thanks.
Thank you.
See you then.
Moving to item 2B, audience of citizens. We have no one for tonight. Item 2C, principal ECC bridge report. Did everyone have a chance to look at that? Any questions? Anything anybody wants to highlight or call attention to?
I was like, we did have 2 students graduate recently from the bridge, so that's always a big celebration, so I was thrilled to see that.
Item 2D, attendance and enrollment report. No squeaky. I think he's still.
All right. Just wrapped up attendance month 4. Just wrapped up attendance month 4, and just for your own information, this time last year, month 4, we were at 92.81%. So we are up as a district this year at the same time from last year, so that's a great thing. But you guys can see this, you guys probably can't. So our 95.05 and winning the attendance trophy for the month, the intermediate school. Congratulations. And I don't have a lot to report in terms of enrollment. As I usually say, we lose a few games for you, we're kind of holding steady there. So we had any major losses or major gains.
Rob, am I correct that all schools today were over 95%?
That is correct.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm sure some Christmas festivities had something to do with that.
Probably.
That's pretty good.
And our high school was even over 97, which is
Wow.
a really good day. So, but everybody was over 95, which is great. Yep. So, excellent job.
Thank you.
I just want to say something real quick to the principals. Thank you guys for that, because when we go to our KSBA meetings, we meet with our colleagues, and Many schools are in the 80s on the daily, and so we're always in we're always in that 94 to 96% all schools. So I think that's, you guys deserve some credit in keeping those kids in there and not just, you want them to be there, they want to be there, they like to come. It's that kind of thing where other places are struggling to figure out how to get their kids to show up, especially the high school. And they have a little bit more, say, or it's harder to get them out of bed and get them coming. So thank you guys for all you do on that.
Thank you. Item 2E, construction report. Did everyone have a chance to look at that? Any questions? Pretty uneventful for a construction report.
It was very short. I was extremely busy trying to catch up, but it's just punch list items. Almost everything's done. We're moving along. It'll be good.
Yep, it's like great progress.
Yeah.
Item 2F, superintendent non-work days. Any questions there? Item 2G, personnel. Everyone have a chance to take a look at that? Any questions? Item 2H, discussion of the 2025-2026 school calendar.
I'll just lead off by saying, I don't know if you guys have any questions or not, but the calendar committee met back in November, and it was a good crowd, pretty well represented group. Thanks to Jamie, who's our board rep. But we had the number of folks that we're supposed to have, and then some, actually. So we got a good group there. Came up with some good ideas. Usually what I do is kind of walk you through the process is I'll kind of make sure we all know what the rules are about creating the calendar. I'll present a couple of options to the group, and then we kind of start to sort of go a certain direction, and then we start to kind of chisel away at the one we kind of like the best in terms of taking things away or adding things or placing certain days here, certain days there. And by the end, we are generally at somewhat of a consensus. Maybe not every single person in the room is that's their top choice by the time you leave, but it's usually a good compromise within the room. Anyway, without any further ado, this is the proposal of what will be on your to vote for. So if we choose to vote no on this calendar, then this is the only one we have to vote on. So you're either voting for it or you're not. If we vote no, then we're going either back to the drawing board or tweak it for next month. So I'll just run over the real quick highlights with you. Starting in August, as you can see there, starting in August 13th, we start with professional development days. We do have some of those teacher planning days worked in to help us fulfill the teacher contract of 186 days to work. With opening day being that dark blue day there on the 20th, and then we start school on the 21st, which is a Thursday. We seem to like that. October, we get through September, and then October does include the full week's worth of fall break, which does tie into Columbus Day. Let's see, moving on through November and December are pretty much the same way they usually are, so not a whole lot's changed there. Not a whole lot's really changed from the last few years in terms of January, February, or March either. So when we get to April, we did tack on a work day right in front of spring break there. That's Good Friday. So that's a day without students there. But it does kind of lead right into spring break on April the 6th. The only thing that's going to be a little bit weird, I think, about this one is 19th workday there. We've got that in the calendar for this year, but in 2026, that is a non-election year. Unless something happens and somebody has to run, or they've got to fill a seat, or something weird happens, and that does happen sometimes. So right now, we've got it earmarked as a teacher workday. Once we get, once we get into the new year, and it's pretty obvious that we are not going to have an election, if we are not going to have an election, we would have the flexibility to possibly go ahead and just call that a student day and work our schedule out a little differently for the last day of school, if we choose to. We wouldn't have to, but we could. Just telling you that May 19th there is, at this moment, we are not having an election that we would have to shut school down for. So, plus we'll go ahead and kind of plug that gap right now before, even if there is an election. Who does that, for example? So we could work on that next year if we so chose. The only other thing I'll draw your attention to, obviously, after May 25th, that's Memorial Day, we would still have a few more days of school at that point, and the last day of school would be May 25th. So that is the way our calendar works out this year. The majority of the folks were kind of thinking along the lines of usually in May, weather can be kind of unpredictable. You're not really going probably anywhere right after school's over with, but conversely, a lot of people do try to squeeze in one last summertime vacation in August. So we thought, put the school days where the weather's a little less predictable on the back end, and have the longer summer break to go through the month of August, or halfway through August. So those are the main things about the calendar that I'd probably draw your attention to.
Ron, is the 24th of April an early release for senior walk prom?
Yes.
That makes sense, otherwise it was so random.
I can take some questions if there are any, or you all can discuss amongst yourselves later on in the agenda. There will be
I want to thank you for the work that you put into it. Having served on this before, I know sometimes those meetings can be heated with the discussion about this Friday versus that one, or when do we start. So I really appreciate the work that I know you guys put into this, and everybody on the team, and all the discussions. Glad to hear that there were so many people that were there participating, and I'm thankful that you're just bringing us an option instead of multiple options to choose from, because that makes it easier for us too.
Yeah, I think we had everybody that was supposed to be there did show up, which is great. We didn't have anybody that was absent. So that was really good. Yes, this is the one and only for this time around. We don't vote on this one. I'll have to work on it again and bring it back next month.
And so like the room consensus again was, yes, let's come back after Memorial Day. That's a great
I
plan.
did not.
I knew you were gonna be the one. I knew it. Called it.
I mean, I have concerns what it's gonna look like this year, because it's the first time, to my knowledge, at least in the past 10 years, that we've ever come back after Memorial Day. We've always been out. So I'm curious what this year is going to hold.
Well,
And now we're doing it again.
yeah, we got, you can usually keep your elementary and middle school kids pretty well engaged through those last few days of school with all of the activities that we usually have. You kind of force your high schoolers to have to be there because of finals. So we will still have a captive audience, I feel like. And we'll have to see.
What do other schools in the area?
I don't-
Anybody else want to pass Memorial Day this year? Moon is kids.
Boots on it,
But I think the difference is we do a full week of fall.
Yeah, I mean,
Like
here's-
that's where most.
No, I'm just wondering
other
like
districts
what
take
everybody
up
else
those
looks
days.
like.
Yeah.
I mean, I know we don't base ours on everybody else's, I'm just,
You know, our fall break, though, it does kind of hamper what we can do sometimes. And I've talked about that just about every year. Not that I don't love having a fall break where it is, it's great, but when you take that much time off in the middle of the year, it kind of, it takes some options away, I guess.
if you took it away, I wouldn't want to be in town, I told the townspeople,
That's right.
I would not want to be away
I
around.
mean, that was the thing, is going into these every, you know, I've served on it the last couple of years, and it's interesting. Rob, he handles it like a true professional. It's fun to watch him work. But it's, you know, trying to start midweek for elementary purposes, doing a full spring break, a full fall break, out before Memorial Day, mixing in Good Friday, elections, having weather, you know, you got parents who are wanting to hold on and stick around summer a little bit longer. You got prom, you got graduation, you got all these dynamics, and everybody's, you know, got their own passions about it. Whether it's, you know, one person that, you know, you got a parent that wants to be out before Memorial, but then you've got, you know, teachers or principals that say, you know, hey, well, let's not forget about graduation or prom, or letting them out early for prom, so, you know, girls can get their hair done and guys can get their hair done. And so it's a lot to maneuver, and to hear all the passion that comes from, whether you're, you know, coming from a parent side or a, you know, and they look at me and I'm here to observe. So again, I think all that it was great discussion amongst, you know, some true professionals, and it's and I think we've arrived at a good calendar. That has
Checks all the boxes.
comes back after Memorial Day.
Well, we just watched those discussions about, like, well, we don't want to go to home. You say, well, we could always change the fall.
That's right.
Like,
And
nobody.
it ends right there.
Nobody was saying that.
Or we just start earlier, we started at 14.
Yeah, nobody was.
Nah.
Nobody wants to do that.
We finally got away from starting on August 3rd, I do not want to go back, that's
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah, because you have, you know, you
That's
get
why
that,
you picked a 14.
because you get the better weather still, so families doing, you know, vacations or whatever, versus, let's face it, around Memorial, you're
Still
still
cold.
cold.
Heather, I think you might want to be on the calendar.
I think that's why they don't. I'm
You may be onto something there.
There could be something there, maybe.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much.
Item 2I, discussion of board policy revision 09.124 tuition.
Board members, I'm making this recommendation for several reasons. Number one, with the opening of the intermediate school, we are going to have the physical space to accommodate a greater number of out-of-district students. That's one reason. Another reason is every out-of-district student we accept, that financially benefits the district. We not only receive seat funding, we also receive that tuition funding. I do want to stress, we are not changing our standards for out-of-district students. But we do have situations where parents move in to this general area mid-year and they want their kids to come to school here. And in the past, we've always turned those students away because it was after the first 2 weeks of the school year. We now have some room to accommodate those extra students. So I would like the flexibility to do that. So I'm just making this recommendation for the board's consideration. The only line that would change is just under halfway down the page, the sentence that says, no new students will be enrolled as tuition/out-of-district students after the second week of school. We would strike that language would leave the policy, and that would give us the flexibility to admit students after the first 2 weeks of the year.
Love it. I think it seems to be an outdated policy as we continue to grow and now have the space, so.
It's my understanding that at one time, the number of out-of-district students that applied here was really high and just couldn't accommodate, so that was a way to kind of draw a line between who was admitted and who wasn't. the situation's changed. We have some more space. So the point I want to stress is, we're not changing our standards. We're still going to be, I've had one conversation with Mr. Nash already. I'm going to have a conversation with the other principals, just mid-year, how your out-of-district students are performing, just to make sure that everything stays on track there.
We think we'll have sufficient space throughout the district where the students come in, or
That's, I'll give you an example. Jason, which grade is it? Is it your sixth grade that's really packed, or is it seventh?
Yeah, 162.
So if it's a sixth grade student, we might not be able to admit them, because we don't want to get into a situation where we want our classrooms full. I wouldn't recommend we put ourselves in a situation where we add a staff member and end up with really low numbers in the classrooms. While that's really convenient for the teacher, financially, that doesn't make good sense for the district. So we've still got to take that into consideration. We are going to have the physical space to accommodate more students in most grades.
any other questions? Item 2J, other. Did you have anything for other?
I do. I have a few things here. I want to thank the central office staff, the principals, for your work the last 6 to 8 months. We're reaching the culmination of that work, and I just made some rough notes here on some things that each of you have done. And the board's aware of this part. Kevin Ryan doubles as a furniture technician, I'll say. And then does his finance work on second shift. And I don't have to tell the board, we have invested a tremendous amount of money in the future of our students over the last 24 months. And Kevin's planning allowed us to do that. We've been planning for this for a number of years, and y'all are aware of that. But that enabled us to be at this point. I can set my watch by Jason Reese coming into the district office at 7:05, and by 7:15, he's out the door. And he's spending all of his time at the intermediate school now, in addition to keeping everything else running. And it's not just Jason. It's Mindy, it's Angela, it's BB, it's Tracy, it's all of anybody that deals with technology. You guys have done a wonderful job, and just really appreciate that. Jeremy, I had no idea it took so much paperwork to build a school. Most people think it's bricks and mortar. It's reams and reams of paperwork, and you've managed that at the same time. When the weather changes, sometimes HVAC systems don't work the way they're supposed to, and that's Jeremy also. So when we turned our heating on this summer, or this fall, things didn't work quite right at the elementary, and Jeremy had to get on that. So he's balanced, he's had a lot of plates spinning here recently. Brittany and Tricia have posted and onboarded, I don't know how many people since last June, and I wish I could do impersonations, but I always know when a new employee comes in the office, because Brittany, in this really good voice, says, "Hello, how are you? Welcome." It's the welcome voice, right? And you and Tricia both do such a good job at that. Caitlin, we did some moves last summer to plan for staffing our intermediate school in such a way that we can meet the needs of those kids without shortchanging the elementary. In addition to hiring some additional health staff. Chris, we've double and triple and quadruple checked the bus routes to be sure that continues to run as efficiently as it always has. In addition to hiring some new staff. Margaret, a lot of staffing decisions, a lot of paperwork with the U.S. Department of Ed and U.S. Department of Agriculture so that we can serve lunches in the new school. And Luke has been a nomad for the last 6 months. And in hindsight, Luke, we probably should have hired you an assistant a little bit sooner. I apologize for that. But you've done really well planning. We did a safety walkthrough, was that Monday?
It's a blur.
With Troy, the new SRO, we did a safety walkthrough of the traffic patterns and everything, and I'm confident of 2 things. The opening of school will run pretty smoothly, but we'll also have to make some modifications for next August. But Luke's done a great job of planning, and I'll close with, I really expected there to be more bumps in the road this semester. And we really, I'm gonna knock on wood, we still have one day left. The principals, you all have communicated and worked together so well. You know, I talk to other superintendents all the time. We bounce ideas off of each other, we whine. So I know what's going on in a lot of districts, and I know what other superintendents have to deal with that I just don't have to deal with here. And it's because all of our employees are fantastic, and you all do a wonderful job at selecting, onboarding, training those staff members, and then managing the situation. So I just want to thank you all and this board. I was trained that teachers think and plan for next week, principals think and plan for next month and next year, and superintendents and boards think and plan for the next 20 years. And you all have done that. And I don't have any doubt, next 15 years, 20 years, what the decisions that you have made will be proven to be the right decisions. So this is kind of a watershed moment for me. You know, I think the last time we opened a brand new building was the ECC. Before that, it was the elementary in 1971. So this is a big deal for our district, and it's taken a lot of work from a lot of people, and I just want to thank everybody involved for your efforts and your dedication. Please know it doesn't go unnoticed.
Thank you.
That's all I have.
I just want to build on that. I didn't prepare any remarks luckily for everybody here, but I just wanted to thank first the board for what I think has been a great year. A lot of collaboration. I think the board has grown much closer this year even than the year before. I think we've got a great working team. We've been through some challenges throughout the year, and I think there's been some heated discussions, but everybody has kind of brought their authentic self to this, and I think it's been great. I appreciate your willingness to give me a shot to run the meetings here and be the board chair. I think that's been a great experience for me. I've learned a lot. I've signed my name more times than I ever thought I would. I think even last week there was time. I think it's been good. I appreciate everybody, all the staff kind of bearing with me as we did some transitions on things. I streamlined the meetings a lot and cut out a lot of the talking that was going on in the meetings, and I appreciate people kind of working with me to try that out. I think that's been good for everybody, making meetings more efficient, and I appreciate everybody here. I think it's been a great school year in general. I think the board has had a great year, and once again, I just wanted to say thank you from the bottom of my heart to everyone here. Thank you. That's all I had. Does anyone else have anything for others?
You guys are trying to tear people up. Make it emotional.
Okay. Moving along, item 3, recommended board motions. 3A, approval of the minutes. 1, approval of minutes November 13th, 2024 special meeting. And 3A2, approval of the minutes November 14th, 2024 special meeting. First by Heather, questions or discussion? Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jamie, all in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Item 3B, approval of superintendent's expense report.
I'll make it.
First by Aubrey, questions or discussion? Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jamie, all in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Item 3C, approval of pay application 23 from Morel Construction, Walt Vernon Intermediate.
I'll make it.
First by Heather, questions or discussion? Do we have a second?
I'll make it.
Second by Megan, all in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Item 3B, approval of district facility plan finding number 1. We have a first.
I'll make it.
First by Megan, questions or discussion? Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jamie, all in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Item 3E, approval of revised UG1 for Walton Library / district office renovation.
I'll make it.
First by Megan, questions or discussion? Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jamie, all in Item 3F, approval to enter into contract for SD1 to operate wastewater treatment plant for Waltonburg Intermediate School.
I'll make it.
First by Heather, questions or discussion?
Just board members, my apologies, this came in late, and due to the wording, we had to go on the agenda.
That was good, had a lot of information.
Yeah.
Light reading for the meeting.
We can teach you.
You know? All good here.
Do we have a second?
I'll make it.
Second by Albert, all in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Item 3G, approval of the treasurer's report.
I'll make it.
First by Heather, questions or discussion? Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jamie, all in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Item 3H, approval of the order of the treasurer to bills.
I'll make it.
First by Heather, questions or discussion? Thank you for the information as always. Do you have a second?
I'll make it.
Second by Albert, all in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Item 3I, approval of the 2023-2024 fiscal year 24 audited annual financial report, AFR, and financial statements.
I'll make it.
First by Heather. We have a presentation.
We do. I sent out the video. The person that used to handle our audit here locally moved to California. Our new person is out of Indy, and I didn't feel it was necessary for her to drive down for a 5-minute thing. And I told her, I said, try to keep it to like 5 minutes. It was, I think, 4 minutes and 59 seconds.
Yes.
Nailed it. And so we can watch that if you want. I don't know if you guys had a chance to.
Yeah, I thought it was good video, but it just
Yeah.
confirmed what she put in.
Standard stuff, like
Yeah.
if you had a playback side by side of last year, it was probably
Yeah.
pretty similar.
Yeah, no, I thought it was a good video, and, yeah.
Does anybody need to see that again?
No, thank you guys for all the hard work.
Just keep it up, if you want to watch it.
Yeah, I did send an email about like all the staff
Yeah.
that are involved in that. All the bookkeepers, Audrey here in this office, Brittany, Tricia, Danielle, Margaret, really everybody. It's a good team that we have that works on this stuff. Barnes City has been our auditor for a while now. I think there's some synergies, to use a corporate buzzword, there, but we work well with them. We know what they expect from year to year. It makes it a lot easier to, if you know what they need, to go ahead and push it out. We can actually start preparing before they're on site and get some of that stuff knocked out. But again, the staff does a great job. It always blows me when we have new bookkeepers that are able to step in and do a good job and not have findings. And a finding is not like the end of the world. Sometimes that's like, check number printed wrong, or something like that. But they did a fantastic job, and I couldn't be happier.
Yeah, thanks for that email too. That was, I didn't realize that some of those folks were involved in those projects. It was just good to.
Absolutely, and it's always, a horrible time. I think it was the second week of school this year, and I've asked it to be pushed back. We couldn't get it worked out with having a new person to be after Labor Day, because the first like 10 days of school or 7 days of school, whatever, can be kind of brutal for front office staff. So I try to get it pushed back, but it happened at a bad time. Everybody just pulls together and gets it done. So it's awesome.
Yeah, please pass along my thanks for the video and all the information. I think it's great to have that up front, and that doesn't save somebody a trip for a 3 or 4 minute conversation where there's usually not a lot of questions anyway. Good.
Heather made a motion.
Thank you. Do we have a second? Second by Jamie.
I'm gonna figure out the last one.
Awesome. I needed it there because I was like, all right. We have a motion made and seconded. All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Item 3J, approval of FY25 school donations.
Am I good?
By Megan, questions or discussion?
What do we, review?
Yeah,
I didn't see any items attached.
There's no attachment.
Oh, okay. Well, we received a $10,000 donation at the high school. Someone passed away. His his daughters, all three of his daughters went to school here, and left $10,000 to be awarded for a scholarship over the next 4 years. But we have a board policy that the schools can't accept a donation larger than $5,000 without the board approving it, so that money's sitting in the kind of a pending donation bucket now, and then if you approve, it'll go, and they've already started working with the counselor on like what they want, the criteria and things of the grant, of the scholarship to be.
Great. Okay,
Easy.
do we have a second?
I'll make it.
Second by Heather, all in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Item 3K, approval of school-wide fundraiser at Walton Road Intermediate School.
I'll make it.
First by Heather. Looks like chocolate.
Just chocolate bars.
There we go, man.
It's the finest chocolate bar.
Right at Valentine's.
Yeah,
Smart.
yeah.
That's what I'll be doing.
Right,
My
exactly.
intermediate student.
Give those kids away from them.
Good looking out there.
Do we have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Item 3L, approval of driver agreement for board-owned vehicle.
I'll make it.
First by Megan, questions or discussion? Do we have a second?
I'll make it.
Motion made and seconded, all in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Item 3M, approval of board policy revision 09.124 tuition, first reading.
I'll make it.
First by Heather. Are there any other questions? Do you have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Item 3M, approval of 2025-2026 school calendar.
I'll make it.
First by Aubrey. Questions or discussion? Anybody want to bring Rob back up again?
Only because the squeaky shoes.
All right, do we have a second?
Make it.
Checking by Megan, all in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Congrats. Here's a calendar. All right, item 3O, approval of field trips.
I'll make it.
First by Heather. Questions or discussions here? Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Second by Jamie. All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Item 3P, adjournment.
I'll make it.
First by Heather. Do we have a second?
I'll make it.
Second by Aubrey. All in favor? Motion passes 5-0. We are adjourned.